When last we left off, Skippy had gone for a swim with a water elemental, got himself into a little bit of trouble, but nothing that the party couldn't handle. And Faewyn has a magic ring that speaks Dwarven, and she's been having quite the interesting telepathic conversation with it. We did that in private messages to avoid a lot of back and forth or silence in the game while she got her answers, and she can share them as she wishes to. But yeah, that's where we left off.
So, guys, Balner knows a lot of things. I asked. So, Gaelen, you asked about, and her gaze will dart to Skippy. Becoming not undead with more flesh, and he says he doesn't know why you'd ever want to because undead is better. But I don't know if I agree because sometimes having skin is really nice.
That was the extent of his non-answer.
Yeah. I don't think he thinks it's a good plan, but Skippy, whatever you want to do, we'll support you in it.
I don't know what I want to do. What I wanted to do for the longest time was destroy that book. Now it's done. I don't know. What's the next thing?
Now we need to kill all the undead.
All of them?
And take back Steamton.
But I'm undead.
Oh, well, only the evil ones who are trying to kill everybody else. You're not going to start trying to kill everybody, are you?
No immediate plans to, no.
Excellent.
And we may yet be able to remedy that. Did Balnar not answer any other questions?
Oh, sure thing. I asked him a ton of questions. What do you want to know about?
Everything.
Everything? Oh, well, we haven't gotten that far into our conversation yet. That'll take a little while.
Grun snorts in the background.
Lignyck, he doesn't know where the flying machines are, but he says they're not dwarves' flying machines. He says they're Illithid flying machines, and that gnomes tried to make them too. And he doesn't seem to think very highly of the gnomes for trying to make them, but you and I know better.
This should be a surprise to no one. The Durfs are insanely racist.
I didn't say that to him because I thought that might offend him. I know you wanted me to ask that, but that seemed awkward.
Sorry, what did he ask?
She'll put her hand with the ring on it out to one side and try to whisper to you guys from the other side. She'll say, Gaelen wanted me to ask why the dwarfs were so racist, but I thought that would be awkward.
I said damn racist.
Yeah, he swore too.
I think it was obvious, wasn't it? The elves and the dwarves were at war.
Yeah, that would make people grumpy. But why was he saying all the nasty things about gnomes? That's just, yeah.
Probably jealous.
And in fact, the elves and dwarfs were at war together against a common foe.
I'm pretty sure that they weren't for a while, at least. Anyway, I asked him more questions about all sorts of things. He said the Balhanoth isn't so powerful. They're just tricksters. We just have to not believe their illusions, and then it's all fine. I was wondering if we could save Jinxie, but...
I mean, does he have any clear advice on how to disbelieve an illusion?
I'll check.
If that's the case, then absolutely.
I will check, and I'll focus on the ring, and I'll ask telepathically if he can tell us how we would not believe the Balhanoth's illusions. Oh, well, he says just don't believe them. It's really simple. Gaelen, did it seem simple when you were doing it?
It did not seem simple.
I was going to say simple for a lich, maybe, but unlikely simple for us, then, maybe.
I wonder what we're missing.
Probably immeasurable power. I think that's what we're missing.
Oh, yeah, I don't think we have that, but he did say there were artifacts further in the mountain that could be helpful in fighting the undead that were very, very powerful. But he did say there's monsters down there, too.
This is also a place that kills liches. We ought not be here.
How do we know this place does that?
You have one in a ring.
Oh, yeah, how'd you die? How is that?
Crushed by falling mountain.
But he shouldn't have been. Why couldn't you, run away or use a spell to teleport away or, and she'll whisper to the ring, I even have dimension door. Oh, I get that. He was reading.
Can you ask him if he has any other useful information before we get on our way?
Well, there's lots of things.
Oh, Faewyn.
Yeah?
Can you tell him about my plan to lure the Balhamoth out of its lair with the fear spell?
Okay.
Ask him if he thinks that's a good idea.
She'll explain the plan and say, "Do you think this would work?"
I would imagine his answer would be, "Oh, sure. Just ignore the illusions."
It's just that the Balhamoth has special powers in his lair, and if we get him out, then we stand a much better chance.
Well, and
Oh.
if we do fight it, and it is a matter of just holding fast against the illusions, I may have a spell or two that could help us.
He pointed out something. He said the problem is we will think that Skippy's plan's working regardless, because that's what it'll want us to think. So how would we know for sure if it was or not?
If the Balhamoth comes out.
Damn illusions.
Well, but we might think we're outside of it. I don't know.
Oh. It would just be easier to go there and kill it.
So I had asked specifically where Lignyck's flying machine was, not that it wasn't Dowreth and was whatever.
He just said to me that if I wanted to see flying machines, visit the Lithid or gnomes. He also thought maybe elves were working on them in their flying cities.
Where can we find these Lithids or gnomes?
Okay.
Ryan, I would know about Illithids, right?
You would have read about them, yes.
I'll ask where we can find either of them specifically related to the flying machines. Well, he said the gnomes were west. He didn't know where the Illithids were these days.
Lignyck is getting fidgety as these conversations are going on.
Oh, he also said he was the dwarf's best plan for defeating all of the undead. But he wasn't going to defeat them per se. He was going to leash them so they wouldn't do any bad things. And he says my book toy is special, but I don't know how.
Ryan, with a 14, do I notice Lignyck being all fidgety?
Lignyck, are you trying to hide the fidgetiness?
Not even remotely.
Yeah, you see it.
Okay, Grun will just kind of bend down and ask Lignyck, is something the matter?
I'm waiting for the questions on the Warforged, on the if where they made them, and if I can make them, and if I can be one.
Oh! He said that was it Bulgar couldn't bind the dwarves' souls to the Warforged, so that's what happened. Is they started out as dwarves and then they didn't stay that way, and I don't think they're still in there.
So the theory is that these Warforged are their own thing?
Well, the ones that he knows about that the dwarves were trying to build first had dwarf souls in them, but he didn't think they did anymore.
So they used to be dwarves, and now they're soulless beings.
Yeah, but I don't know if they have a personality anymore. I think that's kind of what he's getting at.
I wish I'd kept that other book now.
Well, perhaps we can investigate this more if we know where these things happened. I believe Kin Lignyck asked where the Warforged stuff was and if he could become one.
So I'll ask him if he knows where the Warforged were created here. He doesn't know, guys.
Also, Kin Faewyn, you said the book toy was somehow special. Are you talking about the make you stab yourself in the face toy?
I didn't ever stab myself in the face.
Well, Kin Skippy did, and then shortly later became undead.
Do you think those two... Well, it was a little while. We've been traveling for a bit. Do you think this has anything to do with that? Like, I just like it because it can be dark light. Dark light is cool.
If he knows it's powerful, maybe he'll know if those two things are related.
I'll ask. Is this related to Skippy turning into a skeleton?
The dagger?
The book toy. However, that's how she's been phrasing.
The book toy.
Well, then why do you say it's special? What can it do?
Out of character, can I suggest that Faewyn repeats everything that the ring says, like word for word, so that you don't have to type it anymore?
That's an awful lot of... Thought goes so fast. And I'm talking as fast as I can here, but I don't know if I can keep up. We could be here a very long time.
Okay.
I feel we should be either heading towards Kin Lignyck's flying machines, as these may be a great asset, or further investigate these Warforged, as Kin Lignyck has want to.
Well, I mean, I would vote if between those two options, I would be more inclined for the flying machines because I mean, other than the Dracoliches, so far we don't know of other undead that fly, so that could really help us in our travels if we could avoid running into as many of them as possible. And I think Lignyck is quite excited, and I think maybe, and Grun kind of looks at Lignyck, is less interested now that there's the likelihood you'd lose your soul as a warforged.
Lignyck looks around.
Did I say that? No.
No, Grun was asking.
I think the same thing happens to skeletons over time. They slowly lose themselves and their intelligence and become just dumb animations.
Yes, you said that all but liches.
Yeah.
So does that make Warforged a form of undead that the soul drifts from with time?
I don't know, maybe. That's a good idea, Gaelen. You're smart.
Yes, of course.
I mean, we can test this out the next time we come across some undead. I have an ability that would let me detect undead.
It could just be something else that's mimicking undead. I mean, if you think about it, a fire consumes air and fuel, but is not alive. So the same thing might be with Warforged. They may not have a soul, and they may not be exactly flesh and blood, but they may not be undead either.
If we operate under the idea that we are pursuing Lignyck's flying apparatus, and the racist ring says that we should pursue the whatever lithid is, or the gnomes to the west, then perhaps we need to leave here and head west. Though I will point out that west is not the direction I know gnomes are.
There was something about the crest by the lake to the west in the books I was reading.
What do we know of these Ithilid?
Oh, they're terrible things.
Well, then I vote for the gnomes.
I'm sorry. I was a little distracted, guys. Why are we finding the Lithid or the gnomes?
They are what the racist ring said we should pursue to look for Lignyck's flying machines.
I'm sorry, Lignyck. Is flying machines really the most important thing we can do right now?
Well, if we had a flying machine, you'd have more free time to read your books while we traveled because we wouldn't be running into undead or walking or things like that.
Except for that big dragon that flew quite well.
I would rather fight a single dragon. Besides, I killed that dragon. No problem. In fact, every dragon I've fought, killed it. No problem.
Guys, and you may have noticed that she no longer is wearing the ring. And she has tucked it into her pouch on her belt or wherever we want it. I don't know if he's really a nice guy, but he does know an awful lot of things.
Well, I don't think we should go even consider the mind flayers. The Lithids. They're the scourge of the sentient creatures across the countless worlds. Psychic tyrants, slavers, who with interdimensional voyagers. They're insidious minds, masterminds that harvest entire races.
Who are you saying that to?
I'll say to every single person, one by one.
Well, that settles it. The gnomes are at least marginally better than that. We should go that way.
Sorry, as an aside, I imagine while Skippy was giving that rant, for the first, 2 people, he had the book out and was, reading along as he went, but by the last one, he had memorized it.
Gaelen gets a look at gnomes being marginally better.
I said at least marginally better. Probably significantly. I only know 2, personally.
Guys, I have another problem.
Oh no, what's the matter, Faewyn?
I think my book toy might be bad.
The book that makes people stab themselves in the face may be bad.
Well, I don't know what you're talking about. I never stabbed myself once. No, the book toy that makes things light and dark and light and dark and light.
Yes, that is the same toy.
Well, except for with less stabbing. I didn't do any stabbing. I don't know what he's talking about.
Have you grabbed the dagger within?
Why would I be interested in a dagger? There's a book.
Look at my face, Faewyn.
You can see the nicks in his bones.
I remember you having scars, Skippy. But why would I have any interest in touching the dagger? There's a book. It's a book toy.
I agree. It is quite likely bad. Perhaps we should destroy it as well.
Well, I kind of wonder apparently it can do bad things against people like me.
Well, and you had said something about you don't think that the soul in the ring is a nice person either. Why do you think that?
Well,
He was a lich.
he knows a lot of things. I did mention that, right?
Yes, you did.
I like talking to people who know lots of things. So you guys aren't going to try and take the ring away from me if I tell you about this, are you? Because if you are, I'm not telling you.
Skippy will say, it'll be okay, Faewyn. You can tell us. And you'll give her a little hug.
No,
it'll be
she's not
okay.
letting him get close enough to give her a little hug. I know the ring's going to be gone the moment that he does. So no way.
How do you know that? I've never stolen anything from you.
I have watched you steal from the rest of the group. She's not an idiot. She's not wise, but she is smart. No, she's not letting you get that close.
Kin Faewyn, I can tell you that your telling us something is not the reason we would take the ring from you.
She slowly backs away from the rest of the group. He's going to tell me lots of interesting things.
Do you know they will all be true?
No, but I'll be able to test and find out a bunch of them. It's going to teach me magical things.
Anything about necromancy?
I didn't ask anything about that. But he seems to know about leashing undead, so that seems like a necromantic thing.
Well, how could that be problematic?
I didn't say that was the problem, although I'm a little concerned if he isn't that nice if he has a whole army of undead at his disposal. That could be a little alarming. Because it kind of feels like that's what we're facing right now.
We are seeking Kin Lignyck's flying apparatus as something to give us power, something we can leverage against these undead.
Well, he said there were powerful things in the mountain.
You should treat that ring like something that is an asset that you can leverage for power. But treat it with a great deal of caution.
And I think that we should go deal with that Behemoth, because I'm sure that it's got lots of items that it's guarding that could assist us in this. And I don't think the ring would let us astray, because the ring, it's not in its best interest to have us killed. It wants to get out. If it's a nefarious thing, it doesn't want to sit in a hole for 10,000 years.
I'm reluctant to head into a fight that we know is at least dangerous and quite possibly fatal, for the thought that it might have something useful we can take from it.
Oh, we have got nothing now.
I mean,
we need tools to fight what's coming.
Or we need to go back in time.
And if we're just going to turn around and run from every single conflict, we're not going to accomplish much.
I think it's a little much to say that we run from every conflict.
I mean, I do say we take on our fair share of fights, but I do think I'm starting to lean more to Skippy's side. If we can find a way to ignore the illusions, then I mean, it feels like it might be worth the shot. Gaelen, you're the only one who's had any immediate dealings with this creature. So, I mean, I have to ask you, if you went into it knowing the feeling of its illusions and prepared yourself for it, do you think that you could, with the help of all of us working together, do we think we could work our way past its illusions and trickery?
I can tell you that unless it can easily move its lair, I know the boundary of it. And so up until that boundary, we really only have to deal with the illusion of hope that it gives.
So if we go in assuming we're doomed, we should deal with that quite nicely.
I don't think I've not had a little bit of a feeling of doom every time we go into some of these situations.
So we had been talking about using the fear distraction, but we were talking about using that to lure it out of its lair while we went into its lair to retrieve Kinjinxi. Now we're talking about luring it out of its lair and fighting it to the death. Yes?
Well, that's what I was talking about from the start, actually.
Yeah, and I think if we think that bait tactic would work, then it'd likely be worth a shot.
Well, we cannot fight it in its lair. It is suicide. It's worth a shot to see if we can get it to come out.
That I agree to.
But if it knows that we are all there, we have to assume it's not an idiot.
What if we... I have an idea, and I'll say this to Gaelen only. What if we put somebody on a string out ahead of us until they went into the territory and then caused fear on them? Then we could pull them back out of the field and kind of lure the...
Well, and to your point, Galen, of if it knows we're all there, if we can take some time, and if it works, I have a spell known as Feign Death, which would make you seem like, well, a few of you seem like you were nothing but corpses. That might help fool the creature.
It's also possible that Faewyn's tiny hut might offer some aid.
Well, that's what we should do, is you all should hide in the hut. I'll cast cause fear on myself, and you can tie me to something in the room, and I'll go into a fear state, drawing the creature out.
Would that spell work on you now that you're a skeleton?
Oh, yeah, good point. That is a good question. Let me check. Undead is immune.
So another one of us would have to.
Yes.
I feel if anyone should be bait, it should be me. I have the most likelihood to survive a single attack, hopefully.
Well, then I would suggest if we do this, I'm not necessarily suggesting that, but if we do, then we use Faewyn's tiny hut to hide the presence of the rest of you. You cause fear in me, because I have the ability to end that fear at will.
That's a much better idea then.
I know, but the problem is that would give you a sense of control, which the creature might sense.
It should sense the fear, as long as I let myself ride the fear you have caused. It won't go away until I end it. I'm not immune. I just have the ability to stop it.
I think it's worth a try.
So, yeah, logistically, it lasts 1 minute, just so you know, and I can cast it 3 times, so we have 3 minutes to lure him in.
I might be a bit concerned that I would run off, but I don't believe I will. I believe if you do this to me, I will genuinely be afraid of you, but I simply cannot come toward you.
Yes, but you have to leave us so that you go into its range, right? And we have to tiny hut outside of its range so that when it comes into range where it can sense us, we're hidden by the tiny hut.
I'm suggesting that if the tiny hut will mask you, your presence, that you would do that within its realm. Not within its lair, but within its realm, because it will... if it masks you, it masks you. If it doesn't mask you, you don't need it outside his realm, and we don't confidently know where his realm does and does not end. We know where his lair does. We could try it, if this is what we wish to do. We could try it. It risks nothing, really, other than a couple of spells.
I feel like we at least have to try.
I think that we also should tie each other together, because illusions might lead us astray from each other and separate us.
That's also a pretty good idea.
We
But,
can untie when if combat starts, but until that time,
It might be good enough to hold the arm of the person that is beside you. If one of us lets go of the other's arm, then we, would question why they were doing that. This thing isn't compelling us. It's just changing our perception. We will be conscious of that. We can be just about guaranteed we will think it's going smashingly the entire time.
Yeah, well, hold hands.
Faewyn, What do you
I
think?
don't know. No thanks. I don't want to hold hands with anyone. And you notice she's keeping at least 15 feet between you and her currently.
What do you think of the plan, Faewyn?
Well, I'm not. We're all pretty close quarters in that hut. But if you guys promise to stay on the other side of the hut and we don't tie me to any of you, then I can work with it.
Grun, what is going on with her?
Well, Faewyn, I was going to do exactly that too. So before I say anything, I guess I should see. Ryan, what does this tell us?
About Faewyn?
About Faewyn.
Faewyn, what
Did
kind
you
of
just
check?
cast a spell on me?
No, we just incited you.
No,
Oh, good.
they're trying to figure out what's going on with you.
Well, what I'm trying to figure out is there something going on with her? Like, is she hiding something? Is she, that sort of thing? So,
You don't get the sense that she's hiding anything from you, but you will note, as you're looking at her, that she said she had more information as long as you promised not to take the ring, but nobody said anything about it, so she just kept her mouth shut and didn't share anything with you. So she is being at least secretive.
Faewyn, what was the
Yes?
other thing that you had to tell us about the ring?
I haven't heard all of you promise not to take the ring yet.
I can't do that.
Okay.
If you tell me that it's gonna hurt you, I have to take the ring from you.
She backs up another step.
It's
not hurting me.
That's enough confirmation for Skippy. What do I do to do sleight of hand? Well, like
You have to get
basically,
within 15 feet of her first, which she's not letting you.
yeah, which I want to do. So what do I do? Like, how do I get within 15 feet of her?
I believe we need initiative for that because I'm not letting that happen either.
Okay, let me set you guys up just on this map that we're on, and because I don't think I have just a generic caves type map that I can use for this.
Well, Grun was just about to ask the questions like, well, Faewyn, I can promise not to take the ring from you unless you tell me that, like Skippy said, unless you tell me that the ring is going to cause you any kind of harm, then I see no reason why we would take it from you.
So I could maybe tell you at some point in time, but right now he's not in the same space.
Oh yeah, absolutely. This comes out of Grun's mouth as Skippy dashes towards you.
Or attempts to.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that this was the general distances involved. Faewyn had mentioned that she was 15 feet behind the group. So, yeah. Are you actively going to assault Faewyn?
Well, I want to like pickpocket her, like roll up to her, pickpocket it, and throw it.
That's
away.
good enough for me.
Yeah.
That'll be initiative.
Oh, never mind. Game over.
Gaelen and Grun, are you guys going to be taking part in this?
No, Grun's stunned. If Grun takes any action, it'll be after the first round. So I'm just gonna abstain until that point and see how things go.
Yeah, I'm perfectly happy to accept surprise on that.
All right.
So has he started moving towards me at this point in time or not?
Yes. At this point, you have been watching him closely and are aware that he is starting to make a move towards you.
I am tensed.
Okay, you guys see a slight flash and Faewyn blips out of existence in front of you.
Faewyn? Did she just Bilbo Baggins us?
Lignyck, Faewyn has vanished.
Does Lignyck having a...
I assume she's not invisible. If she's invisible, they would still know she's there.
Sending you a question, Ryan.
Okay.
I think Lignyck should also roll insight on Skippy. Because basically all I've done is I haven't had my turn yet. I've tensed.
That is, I guess, my role for what Skippy had requested, if it is deemed needed.
Yeah, you don't see anything.
So I don't pick up on the cues of Skippy starting to go towards her?
Oh, that, yes. You notice that he is tensed and appeared ready to move toward Faewyn.
Okay, so my movement, I'm going to hop on Krabby. I'm going to move to where Faewyn was, and I am going to use my sending stone.
Okay, what are you going to say?
Oh, Faewyn.
Oh my god!
Oh, Faewyn.
I've sent it to you in DM.
Okay. I assume that you're telling Faewyn what you sent?
Yeah, I turned around and told her.
Okay. Faewyn, can you tell me your response when you tell him as well?
Will do. She may need a moment to think because of what you just said.
Yeah, that's fair.
And Grun's just kind of standing there going, like, wait, what just happened? But I said I would. Oh, does that mean the ring's going to hurt her? Oh my god, the ring's going to hurt her. Guys, we have to find Faewyn.
Skippy. Faewyn has vanished. Lignyck has run to where she was on Krabby, and you see him using his sending zone, presumably to speak to her since she has the other one.
Well, it's official. That ring is after her. We have to get it.
It seems to have already disintegrated her.
I think she may have had something to do with her own disappearance there. I mean, keep in mind, she's a wizard. They'd like to do this kind of thing.
But that would be logical.
If the ring has some kind of a hold on her. She did run after I promised. I mean, and I meant it. I promised that I wouldn't take the ring from her if she wasn't going to, if it wasn't going to hurt her. So why would she run away? If that's the case, then that means that telling us would have meant we'd taken the ring away from her.
She knows that if she didn't run away, that I would have taken the ring from her, or tried to, and thrown it away where it needs to be, back in the hole.
Though that may be right, and I think it probably is, that may be a bit premature. How do we determine that the ring is causing her to act irrationally?
Well, we have to at least find her first so that we can ask. But in the worst scenario, if it is trying to harm her, then we need to make sure we find her quickly so we can determine that quickly. But, I mean, I guess we would ask her things to make sure she's, she's still herself and still, aware or in control of her own actions.
She's not aware of or in control of her actions because of the fact that she won't tell us information. She's withholding information from us, and she
we don't know
to
that,
give up
though.
the ring.
There may be
Well, she
another
just
reason
did.
why. Yes, but we don't know we don't know her reason why she is withholding
That's right, because she won't tell us.
Yes,
because
but
she won't tell us.
Skippy, you have hidden information from the group before for good reasons that you felt were right and justified. Perhaps Faewyn is doing the same, and we are giving her the same leeway and same chance to explain herself as we would you.
Grun is correct. We cannot make assumptions, and that she is not making these.
Absolutely, we can make
poor
assumptions.
choices.
We just make assumptions all the time. The only difference is popular opinion here. If you believed as strongly as me as that ring is evil, then you would have been ripping it out of her pocket too.
She has been given a source of information that she feels is important in a broader sense than a single piece of information, potentially, that she feels we will try to take it away from her. Would be my guess.
Because we will.
It seems she's correct.
I mean, I still stand by my promise that as long as the ring does not seek to harm her, I will not take the ring from her.
No, and nor will I. But Skippy is right that if I knew that the ring was evil and influencing her, then I would.
For certain.
But I would not act upon that assumption. So we must find out. Do you still have your zone of interrogation, Grun?
I would need a rest to prepare it.
Perhaps keep that in mind. Lignyck, how do we locate Faewyn?
Don't know.
If she has legitimate concerns, ask her to hide the ring so that it might not be taken from her and return to us.
Lignyck will hold up the sending stone that's in his hand and say,
This once a day.
So Lignyck, if I have got this right, and Faewyn, you can correct me if I'm wrong, there is no response to your sending.
That is correct at the moment.
So, Lignyck, what did she say to you?
Nothing.
So we can assume that the ring disintegrated her into nothing, and she no longer exists?
No.
No.
Then you got a sense that she still existed.
I'm going to move forward and look for tracks. Casually. Like, not like, pushing Krabby, or like I'm moving to attack or anything.
As he approaches, I back up.
You're looking for tracks from where Faewyn was?
Yeah.
You don't see any.
I'll use Eyes of the Grave. So as an action, I know the location of any undead within 60 feet. I mean, depending, potentially the ring is, because it holds the soul of a lich, it might count as an undead. Maybe I'll see something, so.
Okay. You use that and you sense Skippy.
You find nothing, Skippy.
No tracks.
I don't believe she would have just simply disappeared, as she would need to still hide, and doing so from Lignyck is difficult. She was either consumed by the ring or sent herself away.
Lignyck, you know where she is?
Not here. Other than that, no, I don't.
Well, I think for right now, we can't go too far just in case she's coming back. So let's find a spot to kind of set up for a moment while we figure out what we want to do next. But let's find a bit of a secure spot, not too far off.
Yes, you are right. We cannot leave at this time.
Ryan, I am doing a guidance on myself.
Okay.
It's not going to matter. It's not going to matter.
No, it's not.
Oh, there we go.
Seraphina, if you can locate your master, please ask her to return.
Seraphina will fly and perch on your shoulder at the moment, but you don't feel like she's indicating that you are now her master.
Yeah. What happens to a familiar when the wizard is out of range?
When they disintegrate, you mean?
Yeah.
When they're consumed by an evil ring? I'll look that up. Consumed by an evil ring. I think that's page 237.
Oh, that's a thought.
The telepathic communication is within 100 feet, and so everything else stems off of that. They don't tend to travel farther than that, but there's nothing saying that if outside of that range that they just go. I mean,
Yeah.
She couldn't dismiss her right now.
Right. So Seraphina is with you guys and has no communication with Faewyn
That they know of.
that they know of. Yeah. So, what's next?
Skippy, can you find a good place for us to reset up camp? I suppose we could set up where we were already. Does that make sense?
We don't have to set up like full camp. Just we don't probably want to wander too far away in case Faewyn goes to come back. We're not here. That would be terrible.
Sorry, what was that roll for?
To find a camp.
Okay. Yeah, you remember up a couple of levels, there were still some buildings that were standing that were in okay condition. It would give you some cover and the ability to hide if anything happened to come by. But you haven't seen any sign of tracks or anything in this region at all.
It's too far away from where we left her.
Yeah, definitely.
It might be fine if we just make an arrow out of rocks or something. We're not particularly trying to hide too much.
I mean, if we're not really hiding, we could just rest here then.
If you wish. Also remember that if she gets anywhere near us, she will be able to communicate with Seraphina.
It's true. Do any of us know how far away should we get? Like, would any of us know the range of that spell, like communication?
I don't think any of you have the spell, so you could give me Arcana checks. The DC would be 16. Oh, Grun.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, do I bother? I'm like, of course I do, because it's gonna be bad. He tries. Skippy's probably the best bet to actually know this. Also noticing that Skippy looks a little banged up. Grun asks, Skippy, do you need any potions?
I have one left. I was holding off on it. I wasn't sure if I should take it yet. Because if we're gonna rest, then I think I heal everything.
Yeah, if you do a long rest, you heal everything.
How long has it been since our last long rest?
35 minutes.
No, you guys, I believe, did a long rest before you went into the area with the Temple of Dowreth. I don't think you've had a long rest since. So it's been probably at least 2 or 3 hours.
At the very least, we can take a short rest.
Yeah, and Grun will give you an extra healing potion.
And Skippy can heal during
Thank you.
during short rest. He can use his hit dice.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we hadn't even short rested after the fight with the elemental yet, we would be doing that before we were going anywhere because Gaelen spent himself on that elemental.
Okay, should I start rolling my hit dice now? Are we doing it for sure?
Sure.
And partway through the short rest, Lignyck will look up and say,
Ring doesn't have her, but she doesn't want it to be stolen. She's safe. And it appears what I said is the case. She has information that she believes will cause you to take it from her, but there's more information that she wants to have. So she wants everybody to promise they will not take it from her.
Like I said, I still stand by my promise.
I also told her that I'd reply in the morning. So you all have time to think about it, and I'll ask you again in the morning.
Okay.
I can't promise that I'm not gonna try to take the ring from a potentially harmful thing from her.
You could if you don't mean it.
I'm not gonna lie to Faewyn.
Well, Skippy, could you make the same promise I have? That as long as the ring isn't going to harm her, that you won't take it?
See, the problem is you're waiting for some invisible switch to switch over and become a danger. I already think that switch has been triggered.
We're just seeking a chance to be able to confirm whether that is the case or not. So if you can promise that as long as that is the case, we can have the meeting that allows us to determine if that's the case. If so, we have stated in honesty that our intentions would then be to take the ring. But if you can make that promise and then Faewyn is comfortable with that, then that is a positive sign towards that not being the case.
You just roll your deception in a whole lot of subterfuge. It's the same thing, regardless.
I'm not rolling any subterfuge. I've stated my intentions clearly. I will not take the ring unless it will cause Faewyn harm.
And I believe that it is already causing her harm. Otherwise, she wouldn't have withheld information from us.
Without knowing what the information is, we can't make that determination. So I seek to at least find out what that information is so we can make our determination.
That is a very good point. I suppose then it's a matter of if she tells us.
Okay, so we could, we can still see if maybe we can find out some more information while we're here.
I'm afraid if we move this from the spot, we'll lose Faewyn.
That's fine. We'll stay here. So Galen's going to meditate for that first short rest. And then I guess continue just meditating.
I don't really need the...
I'm going to roll one more hit dice, by the way.
So I don't really need the short rest, so Grun's not really going to take the short rest.
Is Lignyck being attacked by a mind flayer or something?
No.
An intelligence save?
I was trying to roll an intelligence check.
But nice roll. Like, really nice roll.
Are our positions on the map still relative to kind of where we are in the map that the current map is a placeholder for?
I assume you guys have walked around a bit since then and just haven't moved your tokens. Like, if you guys are having a short rest, I would think that you'd get a little closer together, but it's up to you guys.
Yes, Seraphina's over where Gaelen is. Other than that, Galen's kind of just hunking her down. Maybe start drawing something. Trying to draw what it looks like to be engulfed by a water elemental while submerged.
Yeah, that's hard. You can give me a performance check, though. Yeah, it's beyond your abilities right now. You're trying out different
watery mess,
different styles and stuff, and it's just like, yeah, how do you tell one bit of water from the rest of the water? It's
come on, it's a wave hitting a vortex. Can't you tell?
While Gaelen is engrossed in his drawing and Skippy is collapsed and Grun is doing whatever Grun is doing, Lignyck is going to take Krabby for a run.
I was gonna say Grun was gonna explore around within sight of everybody, because he doesn't need the short rest.
I'll use my reaction to reform and say, where is he going?
You will risk not using those hit dice if you stop resting.
Oh, alright.
Also, with no attempt at guile or subterfuge or anything like that, he's gonna yell over his shoulder, "I'll be back!"
Well, Grun knows he can't catch up, so he's not gonna try.
Krabby is fast.
Yeah, he's like, no, he's gone. Yeah, if he dashed off, he's gone. So, damn it.
And then they were with us no more.
Oh.
It was nice having gnomes in the party.
Can we just get a hamster next time?
Miniature giant space hamster.
Go for the eyes, Boo! Go for the eyes!
All right, Lignyck, you run off
In a direction as indicated by my intelligence check.
Your intelligence check told you that you remembered a spot that matches the description she gave you.
I'm aware I'll need to make survival checks to get there.
Yes. I won't make you make survival checks for the first few layers up, because there's really only one way to go. But once you get up to an area where there are choice points, I am going to need survival check.
Here go all my flash of insights.
So what direction does Lignyck take off in, though?
He heads up.
He heads up. I mean, if he's running off, I would like to holler after him. We're pretty confident there's nothing. So before he gets out of range, it's like, how long?
I will yell back, soon!
A lot of soons going around.
But being on Krabby moving at his maximum speed, I'm probably also somewhat holding on for dear life, right?
Yeah. So yeah, I'm just thinking that's it. So if I at least get soon, then I'm saying okay, yeah, end of this short rest. If he's not back, we're moving upstairs, because we at least know where he's gone.
So Lignyck, can you give me a survival check, please?
He has King Krabby with him. What could go wrong?
So it's not too difficult. You can see the tracks that you guys made through the dust on your way through originally. You were kind of searching around this level, so the path is not a straight one, but you do make your way to the stairwell that heads down back towards Thorbald's Deep.
I will continue on my little trek.
Okay. You head down to the it's a fortified area between the residences and Thorbald's Deep that you come down to.
I hope he does not find any skeletal hands bearing rings.
Okay, can we assume the hour goes by? Or unless we want to do a side thing with Lignyck?
Yeah, I'm just confirming a couple details here quickly.
Oh, okay.
He's just letting Lignyck know how he died.
Horribly. He died horribly.
This is what the inside of a beholder's mouth looks like.
So, Lignyck, as you come down the stairs, you see a slightly shimmering dome in the middle of the hallway between the stairwell up and the stairwell down.
And does it look somewhat familiar, having slept in one similar to it once or thrice?
Yes, you recognize it as a tiny hut.
I will ride up to it.
Okay. Faewyn, you see Lignyck and Krabby.
Do I need to make a perception check?
Yes, because of what you're doing right now. You would. Or maybe you're passive. What is your passive? It's really terrible,
8?
isn't it?
8?
Yeah, you don't notice as Lignyck comes up. You're too absorbed in your own inner dialogue.
I think that's the funniest question you've ever asked, Ryan. What's your passive perception?
So, Lignyck, you recognize this dome as a tiny hut.
And they're you can't see into them, right?
Correct. It is
I
not.
thought you couldn't see them at all from the outside.
It depends on the caster and how they make them. You they're
Okay.
opaque, so it would look like just a dome sitting there.
I will try to holler out, not quite a yell, but above normal speaking voice. Faewyn! Faewyn!
Yeah, that would probably get her attention.
Lignyck. And hold on one sec. I need to check something.
He's totally coming to take that ring.
I am Boromir.
Lignyck made no promise not to take it. That's true. I mean, not that we've heard.
Okay. I will drop the dome and say, gotta recast it again right away. Hold on. And she sits down to start recasting it around him and Krabby.
Initiative. No, I'm kidding.
While on Krabby, will move closer and sit quietly.
For future reference, you can do that without dropping your tiny hut.
I was just checking if I can, then I would prefer to, but it says creatures and objects within the dome when you cast this spell can move through it freely. All other creatures are barred from passing through it. So I kind of assumed I couldn't.
No, you can, because you can move to the edge of your tiny hut, the one that you have up, and start casting a new tiny hut. And as long as he's within the part where the new tiny hut would be, he'll be in the new one.
That's what I would like to do then instead.
Okay. 10 minutes later, the tiny hut disappears and reappears over... well, I don't think Krabby would fit in a tiny hut, would he?
He's medium-sized, so I
He's
can
medium?
have 9
Okay.
creatures medium or smaller.
Oh, right, because Lignyck is small. Okay. Yeah, so you're all in the tiny hut.
Hi.
So I have good news and bad news. Good news. Grun said he'll not do anything unless something big happens to you that's threatening. Gaelen said the same thing. Skippy not so much. He thinks you're already being overwhelmed by an evil force and you need to be removed from the ring. But they might change that. It depends on I came to ask a question.
Okay.
The thing that you're worried about, them, us, I won't take the ring. But us taking the ring from you if they learned one of the things. What was that?
Well, I just want them not to because I don't want to be here alone. It's kind of scary out here by myself.
Well, I'm here. And I imagine when they're done resting, they'll probably be here too outside the hut because, well, I was kind of rushing.
Aw, Lignyck, did you bring them here?
Not yet. But what's the thing you're worried about? That you said that there was a thing that they might take the ring from you if they knew it. What is the thing?
Well, I don't know if they take it over that. It's just, I'm not sure he's a really good guy, but he knows a lot of stuff. And he hasn't hurt me. He's been nice so far, but he said my book toy's bad. He said bad things about my book toy, and it made me nervous, and I took off the ring, and I think he wants me to put it back on. I'm not sure if we should leave the book toy, but I don't want to leave it for somebody else to find, but it could be a bad book toy, which I never thought I'd say anything bad about books.
Is it the book that's bad or the stabby that's bad?
I don't know. We were just talking about the book toy. It's all in there. Can't have the darkness, and the light goes out without the insides.
What do you say about the book toy? What's the matter with it?
Well, he said it could be used against spellcasters that are good people. And I'm one of those people. And it scared me, and I took off the ring. But I don't think he wanted me to. Because he's probably pretty lonely. I'd be lonely if I was stuck under a mountain for a really long time. Without any books.
Yep, me too.
But he knows a ton. A ton, I tell you. A ton.
Could he teach all of us through you?
Well, he said he could teach anybody else that was smart.
Sometimes I'm smart.
Yeah, I know.
So the hurting the good spellcasters is the thing you were worried that they might take it from?
Yeah, because he didn't say good spellcasters really like he liked them per se. So I'm not sure if he likes me.
Did he say good or did he say something else?
Righteous.
And what does he know about Dowreth and Sharo and those?
Well, he used to worship Dowreth, and then Dowreth stopped talking to him, and he doesn't know why he went away. And and he thinks being not alive is better than being alive. And I kind of like being alive. I like the skin thing. It's comforting.
Because righteous and good are different, right?
Yeah, but it was the vibe I got. He kind of said it like the mean people can say about people who are trying to be nice. So, but I want him to like me and teach me all the stuff because there's a million things he could teach me. And, we've been running and there's been no books to learn from and no other wizards here to teach me all sorts of cool stuff. And now I finally found somebody who will teach me things.
I suspect if they're going to let us keep it, you keep it, that they're going to want some kind of safeguards that if something goes wrong, if he's a bad guy and he wants to try to make you do bad things, that there's ways to deal with that.
Well, I don't want to do bad things, so we should be fine.
You said when you tried to take the ring off, he fought you, though.
No, I just said I didn't think he liked it. I think he's lonely. He's had no one to talk to.
Anyway, I don't know. They're going to be here probably soon, and I just wanted to make sure you were safe, and I wanted to talk to you about what they were doing and what they were thinking before you talked to them, because they wanted to know what the bad thing was, and then they were going to reassess what their thoughts were. I don't think it's going to change Skippy's mind, but it might.
Well, I'm not letting him take my ring.
I won't either.
Okay.
All right. So unless there's anything else that you guys would like to discuss, we will say that the short rest is over for the other part of the party.
All right, then we'll start heading to the direction that Skippy went.
Lignyck, you mean?
Sorry, yes.
Oh, okay, you walk the couple feet over to Skippy.
Yeah, look at his collapsed pile of bones. Remind myself just how off-putting this is, and remind myself that this is not normal, so I don't get used to the fact that just like, oh yeah, Skippy the skeleton. No, Skippy the half.
And you guys, what are you going to do?
Kin Lignyck has not returned yet. Kin Grun, how long did he say he would be?
He said he'd be back soon. I feel like that would be, within an hour.
Do you think he is also dead?
Well, I feel like he's either found Faewyn and they're safe having a conversation. He's found Faewyn and they're in trouble. He's in trouble. And I think I'd like to stop speculating at 3.
Kin Skippy, do you think you would be able to track him?
He didn't seem like he was doing much to hide his tracks. I did roll a 14 on my survival.
And Kin Krabby is not the most stealthy. But perhaps not the least. And Gaelen will give a quick look to Grun.
I mean, he has more legs than I do. Come on.
Yeah, you guys have no problem with Skippy's roll. Once you get up to that level where there's some choices to make following Krabby's tracks, and he appears to have headed down the stairs back towards Thorbald's Deep. And what are your passive perceptions?
12.
14.
17.
Oh, sure, I'm not there, and now you ask for passive perceptions, you monster.
I know, right? I think that's good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you guys make your way down the stairs?
Yay.
Isn't it up the stairs?
No, it's down to Thorbald's Deep.
Oh, okay.
It was an up and then a down, wasn't it?
Yeah, you went up a few layers, but there were no choice points on the way up. It's basically just there's one stair down, one stair up, and then you got to the level where you'd actually have to track him, and the 14 was fine for that. So, yeah, you guys can head back down if you want.
We follow the tracks.
You follow the tracks and see that they lead in the next level to a shimmering dome that you recognize as a tiny hut.
I will stop well shy of the hut and let Gaelen and Grun pass me. And I'll cast a spell. I'll cast Disguise Self. And I'll make myself look like Skippy, like I did before the flesh was taken off him.
Which version?
The last version, so with the scars on his
Old
face.
Skippy.
And, yeah.
Okay.
Does anyone inside the tiny hut notice?
Lignyck would.
They're here.
Oh, she waves. Oh, wait, they can't. They still can't have the ring, Lignyck.
Gaelen wraps his hand around Seraphina's neck and says, "Give us the ring or the bird gets it." And I'm completely kidding.
And Gaelen shifts to evil alignment.
I'm like, whoa, this is taking a dark turn.
I was going to say, it's like, oh, man, how many curses do I have to remove today? What happened?
I was just, I'm going to walk out with Krabby staying in. Wait, he's, what? No, Krabby's coming with me.
Somewhere along the way, our game became Inglorious Bastards.
Yeah, I was gonna say Grun's just gonna call out. Faewyn, we won't come any closer. I just wanted to let you know that we're here to talk if you want.
I will come out of the hut.
Hey, Lignyck, how's Faewyn? Is she's still okay?
She good. She's just worried.
Did she tell you what it is she is concerned about sharing?
She told me, I don't know if it's the only one, but one of the things that he said was the book toy. That the book toy has some kind of a purpose that is to be harmful to spellcasters that are righteous.
It also makes things dark, and halflings stab themselves in the face. It really isn't a good thing in almost any way.
Okay.
It gives the wielder great power over the righteous spellcasters of the world.
So another thing to destroy.
Also, she said when she took the ring off, it felt sad.
Is she not wearing the ring now?
Would a passive perception have picked up on that little tidbit of information, Orion, our glorious GM?
Yeah, she's not wearing it.
She's not wearing it.
She had it in her, I think, Faewyn, correct me if I'm wrong, you had it in your hand and you were looking at it, contemplating whether you wanted to wear it.
Correct.
Yeah, she doesn't have it on.
Okay. So
Which-
she has
which-
the choice.
Which in theory would make it easier for Skippy to steal it from her if he was gonna. So that's part of the problem.
But it is also probably wise of her to not wear it, at least not continuously.
I think that's what she figured too.
And it does show that she has control over her wearing of it. So that's promising.
And it appears that her choices and actions are her own, at least at the moment, which is also promising.
Grun is going to call into Faewyn and ask, Faewyn, would you be willing to allow me into the dome to cast remove curse from you? And if you still feel the same way, then I feel we're comfortable to say that you are not under the effects of the ring, and that your decisions and choices are your own. Would you be willing to do that?
Sure, but you gotta wait 10 minutes.
I mean, unfortunately, we would actually have to wait until I rested and asked for new spells. But the fact that you are willing to do that is of great comfort to me, and then I won't speak for the others, but to me it is.
Skippy, you're better.
What?
Grun will turn around.
Oh, excellent.
Better how?
Oh,
Yeah. You've been cured. Now you just look old and ugly.
what does it take to disbelieve Skippy's illusion?
You would have to make an intelligence investigation check against the spell save DC. So Skippy's spell save DC is 13.
Oh my God, Skippy! And Grun will run up to hug Skippy in just pure joy and excitement.
Skippy takes the hug like an emo child.
While looking, would I be able to also make that roll? Or is me saying it's you mean I've bought into it already?
So yeah, you'd have to make an investigation check too then. Yeah, you buy it.
Wah.
No, Grun.
We're so set for this ballad off.
Grun, it's just an illusion. I thought it might make her feel more comfortable if I look like my old self.
Oh, well, that's unfortunate. But I mean, you know what? I have to say, it's nice to see your face again. If you'll pardon me.
Skippy will just kind of look down sadly. Yeah, but it's not real.
It is as real as we decide it is.
I mean, clearly it was real enough to fool us.
No, I can't message her because she's in a dome and I can't see her.
That's right.
I'll message Gaelen and say, how about this? If she still feels the same way after the curse, she can ask it one question a day, take the ring off immediately. Otherwise, we don't know what kind of effect it might have on her. If she ever fails to take it off, then we know something's wrong.
That is not bad. Faewyn, one thought might be that after Kin Grun does his remove curse precautionarily, that we have a daily routine that someone asks you to take the ring off, and you do immediately as a sign that you can. Would that make sense?
That's ridiculous. One question is just too little. Like, good concept. I get where you're going, and I'm happy with that. But one is just silly.
Okay, how about 3?
How about a number of minutes? Because I can talk really fast, especially if I'm thinking. Like 15 minutes, and I'll think really fast.
Grun will look to Skippy. Well, Skippy, how do you feel about that?
I was thinking more like maybe 30 seconds. Just enough for a quick question, because
I think she is probably being reasonable.
And if it helps, Skippy, we could make a somewhat regular casting of Remove Curse a thing as well.
It's not a bad idea to keep it handy.
I don't like it. But I don't see that I have much of a choice. We were at an impasse otherwise.
I cannot say that I fully like it either, but it's acceptable.
I don't find it acceptable.
I mean, as much as we've all heard tales of cursed objects taking over their owners, we've heard as many tales of, powerful items and weapons with their own will that aid heroes in their adventures. I feel it's too early to say which this could be, but we could at least, wait a little while to see if we can find out.
Tell me one story of a good...
Possessed ring?
Yeah.
Well, I'm just gonna see if Grun would know any like tales of like old heroes with like intelligent swords or things like that. What would that be, Ryan? History or?
Yes, either history or arcana.
Although, Skippy, I would remind you that it was you that shared the story that this lich was potentially good in the first place.
Sorry, I'm trying to roll something. I'm trying to think of an example of a bad story.
Oh, good.
That should be easy. DC 3.
Yeah.
So, okay, I'm going to need a little more specific on what these roles are for. What specific type of reference are you thinking of?
I'm trying to think of references towards magical items that are intelligent and bad. I'm casting a wide net.
And I'm trying to do the opposite.
You can definitely think of cases of intelligent weapons that run the gamut of alignments. There have been both good and evil weapons that have been held by your people, the halflings, over the years. Many of them created long ago, and they have led to good and bad outcomes, depending on the alignment, as their wielders tended to shift towards the alignment of the item over time. Grun, you're not familiar with intelligent weapons.
You guys, like, my people have in the past had some experience guarding intelligent items of power and various reputes, and the evidence shows that whoever wields the item will tend to shift their perspective or their outlook in life to that of the intelligent item. So if the intelligent item is evil, they will slowly move towards evil.
Okay, but if we were limiting the time, if she has the free will to remove the ring, and if we're potentially removing any curse-like effects on a regular basis, and we're being attentive to any changes in personality, Lignyck especially, having known Faewyn for as well as he does, that we would probably have some indications that things were changing.
Skippy will walk by Grun and up to Lignyck and look into his eyes and say, or up into his eyes, because I think Lignyck is taller than Skippy, and say, "This ring is dangerous, and it has the ability to destroy the person that you know and love. But maybe something won't happen. Maybe this will be the one time somebody gets the better of an evil possessed ring. Maybe."
What if there's information to be learned that can be used in figuring out how to deal with the undead? And we're all here to keep her safe. So we will help make sure that if it is a bad thing, which we don't necessarily know yet, we will...
Well, if you're willing to risk your life, I guess I can do no less. Perhaps that's a sacrifice for this war. Will be her life.
We may not know if it is a bad thing, but I think we can all agree that it is powerful and dangerous. So if we proceed forward with the agreed usage and precautions, we may try and get whatever information we can from it and be rid of it sooner rather than later.
I do think, even from what she said, and I look at her through the hut, that there is some threat to it. Having said that, I do think that there is a lot to learn from it, and we should take advantage of that. But I do want to keep her safe. So if you and she are able to figure out a schedule or a plan to maximize what's being learned and minimize the threat, I think that would be a good thing.
Grun, could you cast Remove Curse on her every day after she uses the ring?
As long as I have it prepared, I've got the slots to be able to cast it every day.
At the very least, that's the least that we can do to keep her safe.
Yeah, then Grin's going to ask for Faewyn. For now, while we're discussing and until we make a decision, Faewyn, would you be comfortable allowing Lignyck to hold on to the ring? I believe we can trust Lignyck to be a fair judge and an honest person to hold on to it for now until we come up.
Lignyck can totally hold on to the ring if he comes inside and stays inside. But
yes, I'm open to that, but we would be more comfortable just knowing that Lignyck is bearing the ring in the meantime, while we determine our next steps. If you're comfortable with that, that would set me at ease for now.
Don't you trust me?
We do. We just do not trust that the lich within the ring does not have the means to exert some form of power. We don't know his capabilities, and we don't know his intentions for certain. And we are too concerned for you and your safety to not at least take precautions.
And how is that a precaution?
How is which precaution? Having you give Lignyck the ring?
Yeah. Don't you care about Lignyck?
Well, I think the idea is that Lignyck will bear the ring, but never wear the ring, and will relinquish it to you to use. Briefly, perhaps the end of each day would make sense.
I do not need to be monitored like I'm a child.
No, but the ring does need to be monitored.
And why do you think he's better at it than I am?
Well, we're not. We're asking to be able to test, because if, let's say, I were to use Remove Curse upon you, and you suddenly felt, oh my gosh, why would I ever want to put this ring on? Why did I ever think that this was a good idea? Then that would be a sign that potentially you had been affected by the ring. If it doesn't happen, then we can likely confidently say that, okay, the ring is not attempting to exert any untoward influences on you.
Right. So then why should somebody else carry it after that if the ring's not exerting undue influences on me?
We're just asking for now, because we can't follow through with that. We can't do the Remove Curse right now. So I'm asking for, while we wait, we ask that you let Lignyck hold on to it for right now until we can cast Remove Curse and see.
Grun, I think the only safe place for the ring when she's not wearing it is in the bag of holding.
If you'd like to hand me the bag of holding, then sure.
Lignyck is getting more pronouncedly small as this conversation's going on. He's just kind of curling up on top of Krabby, watching it happening, and the impression is basically, me holding this ring was not part of what was being discussed. Why are you dragging me into the middle of this?
Well, poor Lignyck. And Faewyn, I am just asking for this for right now until we can cast Remove Curse, but I require a long rest for that. And so we're asking in that interim time as a show that you have that control over yourself and that ability to part with the ring would just put us at ease, knowing that you are still you and still in control of your actions. All of this is simply because we are worried about you being affected by a powerful magical item.
If Lignyck would like to come in here and promise me he's not trying to steal the ring from me, then sure.
Excellent.
But I think you're being ridiculous.
I have no problem with her carrying the bag of holding to put it in.
Yep.
As long as we're
Same
sure
here.
that the bag of holding can accommodate one more item.
Oh, it can accommodate a ring. If for no other reason than I've taken out the ring of water walking and I'm currently wearing it because of the whole pool incident, and so there's space for at least a ring.
But are we sure that Kin Faewyn would like to have all of those books in her possession?
Oh, I don't think that's really a problem.
I'm surprised she hasn't insisted on it earlier, to be
I
honest.
trusted everyone prior to this, until you guys started talking about stealing my stuff.
I would like to point out that I was the one who found the ring, and you took it from me.
You handed it to me. I didn't take it from you.
To identify.
And to point out, nobody mentioned taking the ring from you until you mentioned it. Just, to be pedantic.
Lignyck will rummage through his stuff and pull out the Tower of Power and hand it to Grun.
Oh, right. I forgot about the Tower of Power. Oh, my gosh. Oh, thank you.
I expect until this all is sorted out that Faewyn probably isn't going to let everybody else into the hut. So if we have to wait until morning, this will help keep you guys safe.
Thank you. Now, quick question before continue. Would the tower be able to be set up here or no?
How tall is that tower?
Yeah, it's 30 feet tall.
And it would take enough damage to, like, there's a mountain on top of it. It would just blow up.
I was just going to say, if it can't fit here, then I would just say that once we have set up the tower, would you be willing to move the hut nearby the tower in case something were to happen, that at least we were still together as a party? Because I don't want this to put any of us in additional danger.
How far away are you moving?
I would say just like to whatever the nearest floor that we could safely set up the tower.
Okay. Yeah, this particular level isn't that tall, but either the level lower in Thorbold's Deep or the level higher, that is the residences, would have enough room to accommodate it.
And which is the least traveled area so far that we've seen?
You haven't seen tracks in either.
Okay. Well, we could go back down towards Thorbold's Deep and set up there if that works for you guys. We would head out first and set up the tower, and then you could follow when we were inside and you felt comfortable.
I think the problem is that they're going to stay here, and then we're going to split the party again. I think that's a really bad idea.
No, but that's why I'm saying, like, we're going to split for a moment while we go down to the next floor, but then once we set up the tower down at the floor, then they would come down and set up the dome outside or inside if they feel comfortable with it being inside the tower, because we still couldn't get inside of the dome. Then at least we're still together as a party in case something were to happen. Because I think if I understand correctly, you could even set up the dome on like the roof of the tower, and then it would be the kind of sealed off.
That is actually the proper Tower of Power, is the fortress with a hut on top. Kin Lignyck and Kin Faewyn, we will return to where we were. You can take the fortress and go to the next level of Thorwald's Deep at your leisure, set up the Tower of Power. We will come when you have had plenty of time to do that, and you will know we were not coming before then, because we will keep Kin Seraphina with us.
Okay.
Agreeable to everyone?
Faewyn and Lignyck were going to prepare the Tower of Power in the upper level of Thorbold's Deep, and then everyone else would follow.
Yep.
Or
Okay. What are the passive perceptions of everybody else who's still in the fortified area?
14.
12.
17.
Ah!
Gaelen, and only Gaelen. While you guys are waiting for the sign from Lignyck and Faewyn, you hear...
I think he might win.
Really?
It's a contested roll, and my passive matches his hidden. And so when you have a tie on contested rolls, it maintains the status quo.
Right. Okay. All right. They get the tower up, and Lignyck, are you going to signal to them that it's ready?
Only way I can think to signal them to them that's ready would be to ride back down there.
Yeah. Well, Faewyn can't leave the tiny hut. So.
We were just going to wait long enough that they had.
Okay.
Because we know that she takes 10 minutes to do her thing.
Yeah. Okay. So 10 minutes passes uneventfully, and you guys can head down.
Okay, we do so.
All right. You find the tower set up. Nobody can enter the tiny hut except, I assume, Lignyck?
Yep.
Okay. And what are you guys doing in the tower then? You just going to wait until you can have a long rest again?
Yeah, we're gonna have to.
Yeah, I think we're just kind of.
Is there a deck of cards? Well, I have some dice.
Oh, we can play some games. I am going to cast inside the entrance to the tower. To assume, if I'm correct, there's only the one entrance to the tower, right?
There's only one door, yes.
Okay, so inside of that, I cast Guardian of Faith.
Ryan, there's a rule thing to consider so that you don't have to bother even, for that matter, even letting us know that there's anybody out there. We all rely on dark vision, which means that we never have more than dim light. Dim light gives disadvantage on perception checks. When you have disadvantage, your passive doesn't kick in.
Oh, very interesting. Okay, never mind. Yeah, you guys don't even get a chance to know that there's someone out there if you're not saying that you're actively looking for trouble. And since you've seen no signs of anybody in the area, I don't know.
Well, I feel like it would be a little bit of metagaming to start doing that now. So
yeah,
I think we just remain blissfully ignorant.
Sounds good.
And yeah, 34, right, to see if it works.
It works.
Now that said, when we have set watches, that's actively watching, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So are you guys actively watching right now, like before the long rest?
Yeah, we would definitely maintain a watch.
Yeah, there's no good reason not to set up a watch just because we aren't actually at the long rest time.
Yeah.
If we have set up
right. In that case, are there windows in this tower? I don't think so.
There is a window on each wall.
And there are arrow slits on at the top.
Okay. So it is possible that you guys would see someone coming.
I love this thing so much.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Especially when you drop a tiny hut on the top of it.
So
right.
you guys are going to be spending the next I think at this point it's going to be another 4 hours before you can long rest, and then long rest for 8 hours. So you've got 12 hours to kill. How are you going to split up the watch?
Well,
1 hour of the 4 before we'll do our normal watch for the night. And the 4 hours preceding that will be 1 hour for each of the 4 people besides Faewyn.
Well, Faewyn and Lignyck are up top, so they can kind of do, do their watch from up top, like almost together.
Right there, yeah, there you go. So we'll get them to do a watch together from the hut for the first hour, and then Skippy, and then myself, and then Grun, and then our night watch.
Okay.
Ryan, I'd like to work on that spell that I was talking about.
Sure.
And I'll keep working on my Orcish primer.
Okay.
That's +5.
Okay, that would be a success.
I'm gonna track it on resource 2. I'll call it spell research.
Okay.
All right, so we're resting.
Yes. So Lignyck is on first watch before
Yes.
before the sleep. Okay. So Lignyck, can you give me a perception check, please?
I don't know why I did it at advantage, but
Yeah, it's actually at disadvantage.
Well, there we go. I'll take the lower roll then, and you don't notice anything out of the ordinary on your watch. The rest of the time passes uneventfully, and you guys finish your long rest. Grun, can I get you to roll percentile dice for each spell slot?
For each spell slot. Oh, okay.
Yes.
1 second. Oh, whoops, that wasn't. It's 12. I think times 12.
I was going to say, I'm not sure why there's a plus 12 there.
Oh, does it show? Okay, good. You can open it to show the breakdown.
So starting from the top left and moving your way across, anything that's above a 90 is a spell slot that's lost. So the 50 would be for your first level spell slot, and then the 58 would be for your second first level spell slot, and continue moving across. So I'm not sure what that 97 represents, but that is lost.
The 97, you said?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So anything over 50 is lost, but the 50 and under is fine.
No. Just anything above 90 is lost, and that's the only one that you rolled
90.
above 90.
Oh, okay. So yeah. So okay. So that's one of my second level slots.
Okay. So you can burn one immediately
Yeah.
without getting the benefits of a spell.
Okay. Thank you. Just bear with me a moment while I change spells, and then we'll proceed.
Ryan, can I cast a spell before the long rest?
What spell were you thinking?
Divination for wizards.
Yep.
Ryan, can I cast a spell before the long rest?
No.
How about after?
No.
That's prejudice against monks.
He's just prejudicing against non-spellcasters in general. He's a racist derf.
All right. So you guys wake up in the morning. Tiny hut is done. And what are you going to do?
Well, first order of business would be if Faewyn's still comfortable with it, then Grun would come up and ask her to give the ring to Lignyck, cast remove curse, and ask her if she feels any different at all towards her feelings toward the ring and her thoughts of its.
Can I interrupt?
Yeah.
Before you cast anything, I kind of figure out what's going on, and I say, "Oh, wait, maybe she wants to ask questions before you remove the curse."
I'm not really comfortable having Skippy, who's been trying to steal the ring, but maybe his ring, she's given that a lot of thought and stressing over it, up there for this at the moment. So she'd prefer it if he stayed outside of the roof.
But yeah, if Skippy recommends that, then yes, then he would say to Faewyn, "Do you want to use the ring before we do this? And ask your questions for the day, and then we cast the spell."
Okay.
I would just ask too that you not mention anything about us doing that to the ring, because we want it to act in its natural manner. We want it to act according to its intentions. If it means no harm, then it will do no harm. Do harm, then we can remove that harm, and then we know going forward that it's a risk.
So what are you asking it?
Well, I haven't actually given it a lot of thought, given I've been worried about a lot of other things for the last little bit. I need just a second.
Well, Grun has a suggestion for a question.
Okay.
Could you ask the ring what it would like you to do for it? Well, I mean, you may as well ask effectively what its intentions are, what its desires are. It's he died suddenly and was forced to put his soul into this ring. Well, it's clearly not what he wants. So what does he want next?
That's a really good question.
So I think that would probably be the focus of today's questioning, would be ask that question, and then we proceed from there. Lignyck, could you please, while we're doing this, keep an eye on Faewyn, and if you feel that there's any large changes that we should be concerned about, let us know. And otherwise, I'm going to record down what Faewyn lets me know, so that we can share this with everybody, and then they all know exactly what's happened.
Okay, I have sent Ryan to Hoosies.
Okay, and yeah, so I'll start trying to record whatever Faewyn responds back with Ryan, would I be able to cast Zone of Truth during this?
Yes.
Okay. Faewyn, and I'll post it in PTT. But Faewyn, would you be willing? I mean, would you be willing to allow this spell to take effect, the Zone of Truth spell
Yep.
to take effect?
Not a problem.
Okay.
I won't contest that at all.
Okay, and out of respect, while I am within the circle, I do not contest the Zone of Truth. So if anyone has questions of Grun, he will answer truthfully as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, he doesn't ask Lignyck to stay within the circle if he doesn't want to be.
He will, just to be safe, just to be prepared.
Okay. Yeah. Then that's it. Oh, right. 1 second. Still good, Ryan?
Yes, your spell works.
He is busy typing up a storm to me.
I figured.
And possibly others.
Grun, you may also want to roll to see if you can feed us today.
Right. I think so. Is it 11 fetus, Ryan?
Yes.
Thank you.
Still tastes like crap. I wonder if the gruel would taste better if you didn't have such an evil god.
I'm pretty sure it's just the spell itself.
Well, we'll have to get Faewyn to throw some prestidigitation on this or something.
Am I there with you?
Oh, probably.
Then I cast prestidigitation on you.
I assume you're making the food taste better.
Right. No, of course I do. Like really good boogers. Or earwax. That's what it tastes like.
The best boogers and earwax possible.
Okay, and I will attempt to take off the ring. I take off the ring. It wants to experience the world and see the world. It's been trapped in a ring. It's lonely and bored. It wants to share knowledge, and it told me about a prophecy, but it doesn't know lots about it. There was lots of debate in its time about the prophecy. The prophecy was the three must rise to die, and he doesn't know whether it means the liches or the gods.
Okay. And did you have any issues in removing the ring, or
No,
feel
I
compelled
took
in
it
any way?
off. He told me that he can't share his knowledge with me while he's in a bag, which kind of makes a lot of sense because, it's hard to talk if you're in a bag. But I also asked one more question because Skippy is right that he found it. But this is also a someone. And so I asked him who he wanted to experience the world with. And he said me. And he said that he means me no harm and he's not cursed and that his mission has always been protection.
Okay. I just have a couple quick follow-up questions then.
Okay.
One, he knows about the question of being cursed, so does that mean he could hear our conversation even though you weren't wearing the ring?
I think while I'm wearing the ring, I think he can see and hear up to 30 feet. But I don't know I didn't think to ask what he can see and hear while he's not on anybody's hand.
Okay. And no, I think that's probably actually it for my questions.
Lignyck, do you have any questions?
Not yet.
Are you satisfied, Grun, that I'm not under undue influence?
As long as you maintain the same opinion once I cast the spell Remove Curse, then yes, I'm convinced that you have all of your faculties, and I believe that for now, barring being shown any evidence otherwise, that he's been telling the truth. He didn't say anything about wanting to find a new body or anything like that, did he?
No, he didn't mention anything like that.
Okay. Then, if you don't mind, I will cast Remove Curse and let me know if you feel any different.
Okay, right before you do, though, I have one other question for you.
Of course.
Are you satisfied that, as a sentient being, he should be allowed to choose his own path?
I believe that he does have the right to choose his own path, and if his path is one that would lead to harming others, then we would act as we would if anyone sought to harm others and seek to stop it.
Yeah, that makes sense. He'd have to suffer the consequences of his own actions, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
If you're trying to imply that I'm trying to take the ring back, I don't want that ring. I don't want anybody to have it.
This is just Grun and Lignyck right now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And just so you know, she is feeling bad because you were correct that you found the ring. And so she spent the entire night wrestling with that question from an ethical perspective before finally figuring out she could ask the ring.
Yeah, because even though the ring itself is a material, it houses a soul of a sentient being. Yeah, so like I said, as long as it doesn't ask us to do anything that would harm another, it does not seek to harm us. And yeah, if it truly does just wish to explore the world and continue to seek to protect the, I'm assuming the history and kind of knowledge of the dwarves, then that is a cause to be respected and aided if possible. And then yeah, as I said, then otherwise, if it does seek to do anything, then we would seek to stop it by whatever means were needed.
Okay.
And Faewyn, did you have any other questions that you wish to ask of me while within the zone? I mean, we've asked a lot of you, and it feels only right that should you have any questions or concerns that you be allowed to in turn ask me them under the same circumstances.
So you trust me?
I do. As a companion and as a friend, I trust you completely. My only concern through all of this was that you, as my friend, may have been under some form of influence. If that is not the case, I trust your actions completely. You are an intelligent person. You have a good heart. You would make what you truly believe to be the right decision. As long as you're not that decision making is not being influenced, I have no reason not to trust it.
I just need to know things. All the things.
Of course, but our only concern is there are things that not everybody is ready to know. And while your desire for knowing all the things is incredibly admirable, at the same time, that drive, that at times single-mindedness can scare some people that don't have that, myself included. I once thought I had that single-mindedness. I've not had it for quite some time, and at times, yes, it scares me, that passion, that drive that you have. But it is an admirable thing, and like I said, so long as you're not under the influence of one who seeks to alter who you are and what you are, then I have no reason to stop trusting in you.
Okay, I'm ready. Go ahead, cast your spell.
Okay, so Grun will just ask her to set the ring aside, and he'll cast Remove Curse.
I'd handed it to Lignyck after I finished my conversation with it, as you guys had requested.
Oh, right, yes, you did. Then yes, I cast Remove Curse and ask Faewyn. Okay, Faewyn, do you feel any differently about the ring or anything it's told you?
No, all the same stuff that I told you before.
Did you roll to make sure the
Right,
remove curse
thank
went
you.
off? Yeah, it works.
Okay, excellent. And you don't feel any compulsion that you need to have the ring back or anything like that? If we asked you to leave it to Lignyck, you don't feel any concern or compulsion that you need to take it back?
I would be devastated. He knows so much, and I wouldn't be able to wonder why you guys would want to do something so cruel to me. But do I feel it as a need? No. Just why would you guys want to torture me like that?
No. That's all I wanted to know, is that you did not feel any compulsion for it. I understand your desire for it as an individual, but as long as there was no compulsion, that when I said that you felt the need to immediately snatch it back, that would be a potentially negative sign. I had to ask the question.
No, I don't feel any need like that.
Wonderful. Faewyn, thank you for all of this.
Lignyck looks from Faewyn to Grun and back to Faewyn and down at his hand and back to Grun.
So hypothetically, what could the ring do to prove to you its worth? Do you have questions about Dowreth? Or yeah.
I mean, I certainly have many questions about Dowreth. And obviously, as one who was around during his original kind of height of power, he could answer questions that I could only get from some of the liches. So I mean, that would of course would be of help and a benefit. I know so little. I mean, I believe that it can prove its worth by continuing to seek to do no harm to Faewyn or the party and others, ideally as well. And if it wishes to see the world, we are happy to take it on our adventures. If it would also help us in our times of need, I mean, we would be indebted if it was truthful and helpful. I mean, really, depending, all things considered, it could essentially become like a party member for all its all the contributions it could make in theory.
Well, it appears that this ring and the gentleman that resides in it, that it doesn't actually have to be worn, just held. And he has a reply to you. And it is, I have already done no harm to anyone. You are noble, intelligent, seekers of knowledge. Why would I harm you?
Well, I mean, I'm not certain was the case when you were, before you were trapped in this ring. Our only experiences with the undead and liches and the like have been rather negative. We've had one encounter of an intelligent undead that seemed peaceful and rational and reasoned, but most of our encounters have been of a much more life-threatening and negative sort. So to discover the soul of one within an item borne by a friend and companion, we were naturally concerned for their safety. Without more evidence and information, we couldn't make a safe determination as to whether or not our friend was in good hands and whether you had noble and peaceful intentions. And I mean, not to imply anything, but simply to state, we still can't be certain you do or don't, and your intentions and desires. We can only trust that your actions and your words line up, and we would give you the same opportunities and respect that we would any sentient being that we came across. Would try to make no prejudgments.
And again, the reply, have your interactions with your friend Skippy been rather negative then?
Well, Skippy was, at the beginning of our journey, a mortal halfling who through our adventures has been turned into the skeleton that you see. It was not through his choice or actions that he did. It was through the actions of another. And I believe...
Isn't the spirit in the ring in exactly the same situation?
Yes, but we didn't know the ring, the spirit in the ring. The spirit in the ring is a stranger to us. We know nothing of them. We have known Skippy since the beginning of our adventures. We have been through trials and tribulations. We've been on adventures. We've spent time together. We've come to know one another, and therefore we have a better sense of where that person stands and where that person's intentions are. We do not know you. We've heard tales from many years ago that are tales handed down. These are not true word of mouth. So we know nothing of you. We do not know your intentions. We do not know your history. We don't know your actions. So we can only judge as we know, as we see.
Do you remember the book that I was reading where the people were trying to figure out the Warforged?
Yes.
I think from something he's just said that what he has gone through is very similar to that he was made undead to protect the people. He also said that he believes that Faewyn, and he will look at Faewyn, that Faewyn knows much of his history and actions.
Yes, but not all our party does, and not all our party makes their decisions based upon that type of information. Some people in our party make their decisions based on their intuition and their experiences. And Skippy has been through many, trying experiences, and his concerns are quite valid and quite justified. given what information we had and what we knew. I mean, you say you were created to protect and defend. Well, for our friends and our party members, we will protect and defend them. The potential risk of a magical item that sought to harm them. There are many tales in our histories of cursed items that seek to overthrow their possessors. How could we just simply trust to luck that you were not one of them?
His response is that clearly he is not cursed. Your spell would have undone it if he was.
Yes, which is why I said that I now trust that that you have not sought to influence thus far. I've not sought to influence Faewyn, and that going forward, I can trust in the same way I would trust anyone I had just met until given otherwise, that you have no intentions of harming us and you seek to cooperate. Should you show intentions otherwise, then we would respond accordingly. But otherwise, from now going forward, as far as I personally am concerned, I welcome you. I celebrate your release from your entrapment at the bottom of that pile of rubble, and I do hope that you enjoy the many experiences and adventures and the new things you get to see. We're still in the zone of truth, so he knows that Grun's telling the truth. He truly believes, unless you give us proof otherwise, I feel confident that you have not sought to cause any issue.
Lignyck will switch to Gnomish for a moment. The ring has asked to be worn by you without time constraints, to show that he has no ill intent because he has much to share.
She'll respond back in Gnomish. I've agreed to their current plan right now. I think we need to talk to both Skippy and Gaelen too, and maybe have Grun speak what he saw.
Again in Gnomish. So I will save that information until after everybody talks, and that'll be at the end then. And I will. Grun, I'm sorry. I will elaborate on what was just said after we talk to everybody.
Of course, but Lignyck, like I said, I other than the mysticalness of this item, I have no reason not to trust the two of you. If there are things you wish to keep private amongst yourself, that is your right. I will not pry. I appreciate, though, you're telling me. Shall we head down and tell the others what's occurred?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, we'll head on down.
All right, you head down and you find Gaelen and Skippy below.
Grun,
Okay.
you talk.
Yeah. So Grun will go down and we'll tell them. So I cast the Zone of Truth spell, and all three of us agreed to accept its effects. So we could not tell any lies while we were under the effects. I've written down all that was asked and all that was answered as it was said. So if you guys do want to go back through, and you can see that this is what was said while under the effects. But the ring. And sorry, what's the name of the spirit again?
Balnar, I believe.
Balnor?
Balnar.
So Balnar was created similarly to the elven Baelnorns to help defend the dwarves and protect them over generations. And Faewyn, I assume, knows more stories of them and can fill us in later as to the history of the spirit. But
I actually probably know the most out of everyone because I read that book that specifically talked about Balnar.
Yeah.
I was the one that told everybody where he was.
okay, right. I couldn't remember who read that book. Okay, so yes.
Yeah, that was
So Skippy can probably tell us more about who exactly he was and his history. But he was created to defend the dwarves and protect them through history. And his desire is to experience the world, to share his knowledge and to potentially aid us in our quest. And he's agreed to that he does not seek us any harm. He does not seek to influence Faewyn in any way. Upon casting Remove Curse on Faewyn, she had no change in an opinion or feelings toward the information that was shared. Her decision-making processes, she was not under the effect of any curse that my spell could affect.
So basically, we don't know anything yet.
Well, no, we know who the spirit of the ring is. We know that they have not sought
That's
to
all
make
we know.
No, Skippy. We know that. We know that they have made no attempts to affect Faewyn currently. They have expressed it, yes. So what grounds, Skippy, then do we have to mistrust this? Tell me. What reasons do you have? We have reasons why we can potentially give it some trust. What reasons do you have not to trust it, other than there are other items out there that can potentially be bad or good or not?
If I may, I would like to ask, you cast your Remove Curse, and
I did.
it went well?
It did. The spell was cast, and as I said, Faewyn did not have any change in her thoughts or opinions or feelings about the ring.
I highly doubt that this is the type of thing that happens instantaneously. It's something that builds over time. And as for the zone of truth, I don't believe that he was affected by that zone of truth.
Well, I can't know for sure if he was or not. All I know is that the three of us spoke all the truth.
So if we can't trust the fact that he didn't speak the truth, then how can we trust what he's saying?
Skippy, you are never under the effects of the zone of truth. How can I trust what you say? By the exact logic you've just said.
Turning us around on me just dodges my statement.
No,
it doesn't.
It doesn't.
Yes, it does.
Absolutely not. I've already stated we have no evidence to distrust what is being told to us.
King Grun, if I may, I believe what you're saying is that we should treat this ring like any other person we found along the way, and we make choices whether or not we trust those people.
Exactly. We
Based
have no
on their
reason to
actions.
distrust them. Yes.
I disagree. I think that we treat this as any other, maybe drow or some evil race that's around there that may have there may be a redeeming fact to it, but let's just assume that it's out for no good and leave it.
I was just about to say something, and then I heard it really loudly in my head. Dwarves are not drow.
I was thinking that too, because otherwise, she'll nod at Grun. He'd be a drow. Because he's a dwarf.
You're assuming that millennium of no contact with any humanoids and other sort of things as he's been stuck under this mountain is going to leave him sane.
He sounds pretty sane to me.
So far, he seemed pretty rational.
His responses have all been very reasoned and very well put together from what I can tell.
I would suggest to the ring that declaring or reminding us that he is a derf doesn't actually garner much favor. We don't know any derfs. All we know is that they're racist.
Well, that and they were very stalwart allies in the fight against the undead. So they were an ally against the liches and the undead horde. So the dwarves didn't want this. So a being that was created to defend the dwarves and uphold their traditions and their desires would also seek to prevent this.
May have started out as a good entity, but after a millennia of basically stuck with no stimulation, no discussion, no books, no anything, the only thing that will drive this creature is getting out of this mountain. And it will say and do anything in order to make that happen.
Okay, but you just said, Skippy, that it started off most likely, as you've said from the histories, as a good creature.
And what's your point? I don't believe it is anymore.
Okay,
I believe that it has
you
been...
believe, Skippy.
And you believe differently. What makes your belief any more valid than mine?
What I'm saying is that we cannot act upon what little information we know. if we are given reason to believe that there is evidence that it is no longer a good creature, we can then act upon leaving it behind. We can still act with caution. We can still, as we said, remove the curse and be attentive. And if we see any signs of any concern, we can act upon it as we would with any creature.
And I've already agreed to the fact that she can have a little bit of time with it, remove the curse, put it in a bag of holding where it can't interact with us.
So you just said, Skippy, that you essentially thought it was torture for it to be trapped under the mountain alone without any ability to interact, and you want to continue that?
I'm saying that now it's not safe for anybody to take it. You thinking this is a lost kitten that you're gonna save. It's not. This is a potentially,
Potentially.
and exactly.
It's a sentient being, and how I generally try and treat sentient beings as well until I have reason not to.
This is hardly the same thing.
I do treat sentient beings with respect, but I also keep them at arm's reach. Let's stop making choices on things we are imagining. We can answer some of these questions. Kin Grun, you were able to detect that Noble Gem Eleanor was not evil. Are you confident, and I'm asking if you're confident, that you could do the same with Noble Balnar?
I don't believe so, because he is a soul trapped within an item. I'm not certain how the spell would affect him, because given that state, I feel that it wouldn't.
And Kin Faewyn, you have the ability to ask questions to, I don't know, the gods. It doesn't matter. Perhaps that could garner some insight into the state of this creature now.
Last night I asked I asked the question if the ring would hurt any of us, and the only response I got back was, would we hurt it? So it kind of seems like if we're not hurting it, it's not going to hurt us.
Yeah, and given the description of the spell Detect Evil and Good, I don't think it would affect a soul that's trapped within an item.
I want to roll Arcana to see if that's true.
Sure. You believe that's true.
Kin Grun, you also have the ability to petition your deity for answers.
I can try, but I last time I did that, I was told, unless I either begin the act of destroying other gods' avatars or raising the avatar of Dowreth, that I will get no answers. And I already am having some issues with my magic, similar to when Kelemvor's influence was waning. I believe Dowreth is less than pleased with my reluctance to aid him in his quest. So I can certainly try, but it would not likely be something that you should consider as a truly valid option.
Grun,
Yes?
the ring, just asked, an avatar of Dowreth?
Yes. I through events have become a cleric of Dowreth, and one of the tasks he has set upon for me was to bring about an avatar in this realm for him.
I was concerned, Kin Grun, that this sort of thing might happen. Once you start down the dark path, forever will it dominate your destiny.
Did Ring have a response to my information?
Do you want help with that? I think we might know a guy.
Well, not actually looking to, hence the problem, not actually something I'm looking to do. I don't truly have enough faith in Dowreth and his intentions to do that. I mean, what he wants, what his desires go against my teachings. I became a faithful in the hopes of changing his mind, of showing him that there was a different way, but thus far that has been a rather unsuccessful venture.
I believe the ring shares your notion of the gods being challenging in being able to change their minds, are being able to change their minds.
Well, then we know the ring's at least intelligent. So all I can do is while he still keeps an eye on me, seek to, through actions, change his mind. That by working together, by joining forces with the new gods and then the creatures of this time, that we can defeat Murgafi and perhaps move into a new era where both the old gods and the new gods work together, and we can find a new balance and a new harmony. It may be wishful thinking, but it's the desire that keeps me going.
If your interest is trying to change Dowreth, wouldn't it be better to have some say in the avatar that is chosen to help facilitate some of that change?
Well, I don't fully understand the ritual, hence part of my concern, but choice of the avatar. I did not know that we had any say in who the avatar or what the avatar would be.
Seems to me if you're looking for, didn't you say that you're supposed to find and raise the avatar?
No. It's like a ritual spell. So we have to find particular items, come back to the temple of Dowreth here with the items, and perform a particular ritual that would create an avatar of Dowreth. Grun is quite leery about that prospect, especially given what some of the items are. They're questionable composition.
Create an avatar of Dowreth out of whom, Kin Grun?
Out of no one, out of this spell and these components. An avatar is not, from what I know of avatars, which is only what I've been told by Dowreth. So, obviously, this is...
Well, and you've been murdered by one.
Yes, and being murdered by one. But they are not creatures that were brought into life as we were born, flesh and blood. They are creatures of magic that have a direct link to their deity. They are the embodiment of the will of that deity here on our mortal plane. That is the closest thing to their presence as they can manifest here. And as you know, Dowreth, one of the tasks Dowreth sent me was to eliminate the avatars of other gods, but the other one was, as I had also said, to create one for himself. But both of which I'm not willing. You saw how my attempts to negotiate with Corellian's avatar went for me. And as much as I would love to continue that effort, the consequences were made rather clear to me that if the gods, who don't seem to be overly willing to consider other alternate viewpoints, don't really agree with me, they take some very swift actions. And the whole time, Grun's kind of rubbing at the area where he had a hole blasted through him.
What kind of items do you need to get? And also the gods aren't like us, really. They're very focused on what they believe and what they strive for.
Their platform.
Okay, so we would need a vial of potent poison, grave dirt, an undead finger, and what was the other thing? Sorry, that's terrible. Oh, right. And if this isn't ominous, the essence of doom. So I believe you understand Grun's reluctance to create an avatar where, those are the components.
Essence of Doom sounds pretty grim.
Yeah, and then, especially in conjunction with the other three, it just really hits home that this isn't the most natural avatar creation process.
Bolnar actually says the essence of doom is not evil.
What is essence of doom? It's not evil. What is it?
The realization that we all grow old and die.
Wow.
Kinda, yeah. It's the notion of the foreboding of the inevitable, kind of, I would think.
I mean, yes, you are correct. That is not inherently evil.
The essence of doom is a naturally occurring phenomenon far from all worlds and eats light, is what he says.
That book eats light.
Oh, yes, it does.
The book toy?
The book exudes dark, so it's different.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. Well, yeah. So I mean, you can see why Grun has not made any kind of real active efforts to create this avatar or destroy other avatars, especially given that what we're learning about the old gods, aside from really the Storm Lord, neither of the other two seem to be like ideal choices, and even the Storm Lord is neutrality to the extreme, and that's irritating and frustrating in its own way.
How can you possibly have neutrality to an extreme?
Yes, that is a bit of a contradiction, isn't it?
Lignyck is looking a little bit distracted.
So you said poison,
A vial of potent poison,
and you said a dirt of grave dirt.
grave dirt, finger of an undead, and then the essence of doom. I mean, really, the other three are relatively easy to get. And the poison, depending on like where. Finger of an undead is everywhere, and grave dirt. I mean, that's also not that difficult to locate.
But none of those things is really inherently evil, is it?
No, none of them are inherently evil. They are all just very strong, strong indicators of an anti-life avatar, and that just really goes against. I mean, the teaching of Kellenbor. I've changed a lot of thoughts and opinions, but I still have strong feelings on the idea of the undead and Dowreth's position on the benefits of its state.
There are probably things a stone's throw away from us. Where are we sitting right now that are poisonous? It happens everywhere.
I mean, you're not wrong.
And we're in a town that they fought, right? They were fighting, whatever it was they were fighting, and many of them died glorious or honorable or noble deaths trying to defend the people around them. Grave dirt isn't by its nature anti-life. It could be, it's just kind of there.
It's true. A potent poison doesn't necessarily have to be one that takes the life of someone. I mean, I guess we could have some influence as to the creation of this avatar. To what extent that actually affects the outcome, I have no idea. But I mean, does seem to be small ways we could potentially have an effect. But once again, this ritual would involve, I think, everyone in the party would be required to participate in this. So this is not something I could lightly ask everybody to have to take an active hand in. I mean, this is a huge, potentially world-changing action that we would be undertaking. This is not something that could be gone too lightly and without a great deal of consideration. I mean, we would be. It would require us as a group to take an active hand in helping a specific god, taking a side almost. I mean, I could ask that potentially of myself if I believed enough in it, but I could never ask that of you guys. And I mean, I don't have enough faith in that for myself that it's the correct action.
I can't speak for everybody else, but Faewyn and I, we're here because of the book, and it was something we knew nothing about, and we're here to help you accomplish what you needed to so that you all would help come help us with Steamton after. I don't see how this is any different. So I'm in.
Well, that
and
means a great deal to me, Lignyck. Thank you.
And what if you wait to make this avatar, won't Dowreth just send somebody else to do it?
Currently, from what I'm aware, he has few followers and has very little influence currently in this world. And so I think it would be quite difficult for him to find another follower and to get them here and everything. I feel it's potentially possible, of course, but I just feel it would be quite difficult and quite unlikely that it would happen as quickly as you would hope.
The way I see it is we have really three options. Seek out to secure a flying machine to aid us in our missions. Summon a doom-filled avatar of darkness to rampage across the land, ridding it of any other deity's avatars it may find. Or suicide ourselves on a Balhanoth. How does anyone else feel about those options?
I mean, put like that, you make only one of them sound appealing. And I mean,
Grun,
is there anybody else who doesn't want to go after the Balanoth? Yes.
could you do the same thing that Gaelen asked if Faewyn could do? Well,
Sorry, which?
what you're asking, the divination that you can do, right? You said that you weren't trying to forward your mission, right?
Yes.
If you're actively asking a question about your mission, that's probably something he probably would be more inclined to answer.
Are you suggesting that his evil deity wouldn't be biased on which one of those three he thought he should do?
No, to ask if he has other followers who would are also trying to raise the avatar.
I mean, the intermediary that he's put in his place as secretary, as you will, may have that answer. But once again, we would have to wait until tomorrow to ask that. It's not a spell I keep prepared at the current time.
But if he's trying to, if he's got lots of people at it, and you're one with a more moral compass, it seems to me that it would perhaps be to the benefit of what you're trying to accomplish if you were the one that did it rather than...
You're the best of the bad guys, Ken Grun.
I'm the bad guy with good intentions, is what you're saying. Oddly enough. Strangely.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't say it like that, no, but yeah, kind of.
Yeah, I was going to say, oddly enough, that does not give me a warm, fuzzy feeling. Well, I mean, once again, this is something that would involve everybody. So, Skippy, Faewyn, I mean, what would you guys think on this? I mean, you all know as much as I know about this process, and you know what Dowreth's desires are. Where would you stand on this?
I don't know a lot about avatars. What exactly can an avatar do?
Well, an avatar reflects the god that it's kind of embodying. So depending on depending on the strength of the deity, the avatar's strength kind of increases or decreases proportionally. Given that Dowreth currently doesn't have a whole lot of followers and doesn't have a whole lot of influence, I feel its avatar would be, somewhat more limited to more established deities that are still free. But I couldn't say for sure. But effectively, they are incredibly powerful humans. I mean, you could think of them as very high-level adventurers and heroes of the land. You can consider them as of that kind of level, individuals of great individual power. So they have the potential to be a influence on a very large scale, and they act out the will of the deity effectively, pretty much directly.
Does pursuing this get us closer to finding, defeating, and destroying Gem Lucius?
I mean, it could, because Dowreth wishes him destroyed as well, so his avatar would likely be actively seeking to hinder or destroy Lucius. So, I mean, it would be, if nothing else, the enemy of my enemy is my friend kind of a situation. But beyond that, who can say?
Unfortunately, that enemy of our enemy is also the enemy of our friends.
So this is the conundrum that I have found myself in for our journey. Ever since we found out that that were his desires, with that question of is that the action to take?
Ken Grun, I have been with you your entire life, and I have followed you this far. I will join you on whatever journey you wish to take.
Well, this would have to be this would have to be unanimous. If yeah. So Skippy, what do you want to know about this? Like, what questions do you have?
Well, I thought we had all decided that Dowreth and Shiro were the bad guys.
I mean, they definitely were not. They are definitely not the good guys, but they are also
they're not strictly good and evil either. I mean, at least the lines all are quite blurry, but they are not what we would necessarily say good guys in our sense. But if things are to be trusted, if our information up till now is to be believed from multiple sources now, there is a larger threat beyond Lucius, beyond Dowreth and Shiro, beyond all of that, that without more help, we are all going to become eventual victim to. So the question becomes, where on that huge thing?
What happens to Seraphina as soon as that avatar shows up here?
What do you mean, Seraphina?
Isn't she hiding from the gods?
We do have to keep Seraphina safe.
Sorry, I can't remember Seraphina's issue with the gods right now.
She is she is from one of the old gods, which both Dowreth and Shiro are trying to kill.
Oh, okay. So yeah, so we have to keep Seraphina. Okay, so I couldn't remember that. Sorry.
We do. That's a very good call, Skippy. We have to keep her safe.
And what is this avatar going to start doing as soon as we let it go into the world? Is it going to start to kill the avatars of the good gods?
Well, likely it would either be acting towards that goal, or it would be acting towards the goal of defeating Lucius and preventing the rise of Glothor. These are kind of Dowreth's two big goals really right now. So it would, obviously he likely has other goals he's not shared with me that his avatar could be kind of sent to act on. But those two are the ones that seem most likely given what we know. So yeah, it's likely one of those two. But yeah, so he could absolutely be going out to seek the avatar of the other gods, which would further reduce their influence on the world. Now, because they are avatars, they are once again recreatable, but that still doesn't make it okay. So hence why I've been hoping that when we've come across these avatars, we could speak to them instead of fight with them.
To what end, though? Dowreth just wants to kill them. He doesn't want to convert them or do anything else with them. He just wants them dead.
No, he doesn't, but I do. And as I told you, I took up the worship of Dowreth with the desire of showing through our actions that there was a different way than the one he's chosen, that there was a way of cooperation with the other gods and their avatars and mortals. And through what we did as a group, as a party, I wish to show through our struggle that there was a different option than the one that he and his brothers have chosen.
I guess I'm not convinced that I believe that Dowreth cares about the struggles of mortal man.
He doesn't. Neither do his brothers, but also I don't necessarily know that all the newer gods did either. But if we can somehow show them that there's value in it, I mean, we could change so much.
I think you'd be better off worshipping Seraphina than Dowreth.
I mean, she certainly seems more reasonable.
Seraphina scoffs at that very idea because she is not a god and she should not be worshipped.
Oh, I thought she was an elder god.
She serves one of the other gods, but she isn't one.
No, but she seems the more reasonable option.
Oh, okay. I thought she was a god. Sorry.
No, she had been essentially an angel of Foltus.
Oh, okay.
I wonder if the servant of another god being turned into the avatar of Dowreth would exert a positive influence.
I check with Seraphina if she even wants to entertain that prospect, because I'm a little doubtful.
Yeah, I don't. Once again, the ritual doesn't turn someone or something. It doesn't turn an existing person into an avatar. It creates an avatar kind of out of nothing and magic.
I would not be surprised if the details are not exactly as you see them.
I mean, that's true, but we can't assume that we get to choose a person to create the avatar. I mean, if the spell required us to, he would likely have given us that instruction, because then we would have to find a person to become the avatar and master all 4 elements.
Or we'll just take one.
Which is another part of my concern, which is why I'm concerned about putting all of you at risk, because we don't know it.
When you had to fight the avatar,
Yes.
you said that you tried to reason with him, right?
I did. I was not the most persuasive. Out of character, I rolled horribly on any persuasion roll that I rolled.
But you were able to have the conversations with him.
Indeed, I was.
So maybe it's not about changing Dowreth's mind. Maybe it's about showing his avatar.
Could be. I mean, they're created as the extension of the god, but they are here on the mortal plane. It's a step closer, but once again, do we take that chance? Not know.
Yes, they also act as the eyes and ears of the god, yes?
From what I understand, like something along those lines, yes.
So really, without an avatar, Dowreth doesn't know what the hell he's talking about.
Well, from what I've seen, Dowreth has had multiple worlds under his control, so I feel like he must have had avatars on those ones as well, or at least some of them. And I mean, whether anybody else tried, but it doesn't seem to, on any of those worlds, seem to have been an effective strategy.
Well, what does everyone think we should do moving forward? I'm willing to go along with releasing an avatar of darkness upon the universe.
I'm a little hesitant.
I'm also willing to go and possibly die, but try to destroy something that quite possibly killed a friend of ours. I'm also willing to go and seek out flying machines.
Or save Steamton.
We would need flying machines to travel any great distances and accomplish great goods.
I was kind of thinking if there's the potential of us getting a flying machine, it would make traveling to Steamton a lot faster and easier, as well as just other travels, like you said.
And it might get Lignyck out of my nightmares.
What's he doing hanging out there?
Wait, what?
Going on about flying machines.
I can't in good conscience release the avatar of Dowreth on this world, no matter how much I'd like to support Grun.
I think I kind of got to go with that too.
Of course, and like I said, I mean, I have my own doubts on this. How could I ever ask any of you to support this? I completely understand.
You will affect change in Dowreth in other ways. I am sure of it.
That is my hope. But I've already done about as I've already gone beyond the tenets of my old faith about as much as I'm really comfortable doing. I would like to show him while still holding true to my beliefs. Father Sean instilled them upon me, and I believe that they still hold truths.
And I do not believe that you have compromised your beliefs.
Well, that we'll only know at the end.
We know ultimately we will be searching out these flying machines. The only question is, do we hunt a Balhanath in the meantime?
I mean, I would love to at least try to get Jinxie back. I think we at least owe him the attempt that we discussed.
If Kin Jinxie is still alive, I'm not saying he is not, he will be very scarred.
He will, but like I said, I believe we at least owe him the chance to come back and to attempt to find something after this. But
I can tell you, I'm happy to move on and seek out these machines. But there is a part of me that delights in the notion that the creature that baited Kin Jinxie and myself would see me, with the help of Skippy, as an irresistible bait as well.
Yeah, I believe I can understand the feeling. But if we are going to do this, I think we need to take some time and plan this out. Maybe sleep on it.
maybe level.
mull over the experiences of the day.
Just
and-
yes, I see. Yes, just
Yeah.
soak in the experiences that we have gathered. It is good thinking.
We are wiser now, so
If need be, we could hone our skills hunting a few random patrols of orcs or something.
You guys want to go hunting?
Only if we don't feel like we've gathered enough experiences
To reach our true potential.
that we are ready to perhaps bait a ballon off.
to move on to the
There's-
next level of our adventure.
God, this is hilarious.
Jesus Christ, you metagamers.
Hey, don't lump everybody in.
Yeah, Ryan, stop metagaming. We're not about that stuff.
Honestly, I don't know how much experience you guys need to get to the next level. And it's going to be a stretch to get experience out of this session. Like, so much happened, and it was like you guys did learn knowledge and lore about the world, and I think that's on the list of things that'll get you bonus experience. Developing new relationships with NPCs.
We overcame a flighty wizard. We avoided a drow scout.
And you didn't avoid that; it just didn't engage you, and you didn't even know it was there.
No counts.
No. There's the interesting use of a spell. In Faewyn's case, using Dimension Door to get away from you guys. So I might be able to cobble together 1,000 experience points out of this mess.
It's hodgepodge of a session.
Hey, you've got to admit there was significant role playing in this one.
Yes, but that's usually rewarded with inspiration.
And initiative was rolled.
Yes. Combat was engaged. Combat was engaged.
That was PvP. I don't think that counts. So I'm totally fine with wrapping it up here, and we'll continue on next time then with whatever you guys decide to do.